welcome to the Zia Cooking Kitchen. I'm Carrie, and like always, I'm so glad you're here. Guess what we're doing today? We are going to be making an incredible feast. We are making tortas. Tortas, yes, we are going to be making Mexican pulled pork, and these are going to be delicious sandwiches. Let's not waste any time and get started because I have 101 things I'm going to be teaching and sharing with you today. The first thing I did is I went ahead and I warmed up a skillet, dropped in 2 tablespoons of butter to get that melted, and I'm going to go ahead and add in just a little drizzle of some olive oil. And when I say a drizzle, I'm talking less than 1 tablespoon for that. I took time to slice up 1 whole white onion, and we're going to drop that in our skillet because this is going to be one of the most important parts of this wonderful sandwich, because we're going to caramelize, cook, saute these onions into a golden, delicious, lovely feast that is so creamy and delicious on top of these sandwiches. Let's go ahead and drop those in now. Now, there are a couple of things that you can do. I really recommend that you take the time when you're cooking your onions, that you cook them low and slow. You really want to make sure that you get a chance to get all that brown on there and you cook out the harshness of the onion. But I know some of us come home and we're a little bit busy and we're rushed for time. So one thing I do want to recommend is that you can always reduce your cooking time by using your lid. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that on now and get those going. The next step, we're moving over to my comal. A comal is a cast iron griddle. For those of you who don't have one, I highly encourage you to get one because you can do so many things with this wonderful tool. Now, I love, a majority of the time, I like to use cast iron, but that's just my personal preference. It holds heat well. I really enjoy that I can use it for multi-purposes. It can go stovetop, it can go to oven. I do also like that it imparts a little bit of iron. We all need that extra iron in our diets as well. So what I did is I have this turned on and I'm putting it up to a medium. I always like to keep my comal seasoned, and I usually season it with olive oil, and I'm talking just a smidge of olive oil. The reason I switched over to that a couple of years ago when I'm seasoning my cast iron, and by seasoning I mean keeping a protective coating on it, is because some of the other oils can go rancid or they'll build up, and I do cook on high heat quite often. So I've switched over to that. So what I'm doing today is I am going to be creating some jalapeño or chile toreados. Now these are basically going to be scorched or blistered jalapenos that we put on the comal, so we'll get those started. And I wanted to let you guys all know that just like I mentioned, I'm excited that you guys are here. I have so many other videos that I've shared with you in the past, and I've gotten such incredible feedback. But if you're joining us for the first time in the Zia Cooking Kitchen, I want you to subscribe, and I want you to do it now. And take a minute and look through my library. It's like a beautiful shelf of love, one recipe after another that you can just pull out and play. These are lovely recipes. These are lovely mood starters for those of you who don't know what you want to do when you come home from work, or you're not sure how you're going to handle a busy day or a family gathering. Make sure that you take a look at the other recipes that I have. Let's jump right back in since we've got so much going on and I have so much to share with you. I could ask you to subscribe all day, but I'm going to ask you one more time. Hit that subscribe button now if you haven't. I really love to see my channel grow, and it's fun to have you here in the kitchen with me all the time. Oh, these are smelling good. Let's go ahead and let's move on to the most important component when you're making a pulled pork sandwich, and that is, of course, your pork roast. Now, the pork that I chose to do today, I'm going to... Thank you. I'm going to share with you how I get this delicious pork going. So I'm using a 2.5 pound pork today, and this roast, I went ahead and I brought it to room temperature, and I put a little bit of garlic on there. I minced 2 cloves of garlic, and I mixed it with a little bit of pepper, and I went ahead and I put that on top while it came to room temperature. Now this is where I like to get a little spice crazy. Don't get scared, and if you think it's too many spices, let me me reassure you, this pork can hold so much flavor, and this is where we're going to find a lot of the flavor that comes from this delicious sandwich we're building. Of course, all of this is going to be listed in the description box below, so don't be afraid, but if you would like to, make sure that you bookmark this because you can always come back and take a look at it later. So today we're going to drop in a ton of stuff. We are going to be using some red chili powder. We're going to be using some garlic powder. We are going to use garlic salt. We are using some fresh black pepper that was just freshly cracked. I also have some salt on there. I'm using a little bit of paprika, and my secret spice that I add in there is brown sugar. What? Yes, brown sugar. You know, when you think about it, when you think about a famous barbecue sandwich, we always have that smoky, rich flavor in the back, and a little hint of brown sugar is wonderful. But when I'm making my Mexican style pulled pork, I always like to incorporate it there. Not too much. We don't want a sweet taste, but we definitely want to add a little bit of that extra kick component in the background. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to spice this up. And as you can see, this dry rub goes in on there. Now, in true New Mexico style, when we're working with pork, you'll find a lot of the times that we work with our citrus that goes with it. So today we're going to be using lime, and we are going to be using orange. We went ahead and we put in those spices there already. And all I do is I'm simply going to take our citrus juice and squeeze it down in there. Now this is delicious because this is a 2-for-1 recipe. Not only am I showing you how to make this pulled pork for these delicious torta sandwiches today, you can also take this and shred it and put it under your broiler and get it crispy and make carnitas. It's the same exact recipe, the same pork roast, and I'm going to show you how you can do that also as well. So you're welcome for the 2-for-1 recipe I'm throwing out at you guys today. Now, traditionally, when you look at all the citrus flavors, sometimes people will incorporate lemon as well. I love the combination of orange and lime together. You can do what you'd like, but I also like to sometimes add tangerines or the cuties. If I have a bunch of those, I can use those as well. So right now what we do is we're going to cover that up, and I've got my soapy water here. Thank you for following along with me, trying to stay neat in the kitchen. And these are blistering. They are just lovely. Now, for those of you who don't feel comfortable using your hands on the hot comal, you always want to make sure that you have ample tools around for you. We're going to take this roast. We are going to put it in the oven. We are going to cook it at 300, and we're going to cook it for about 2.5 hours. We're going to check it at that point, and then if I need to add a little bit more liquid, I will. But most of the time, if I keep it covered, it's going to be delicious, guaranteed. Trust me, try this in your house. You're going to love it. Let's go ahead and pop that in the oven now. All right, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about tortas. Tortas are what we call sandwiches. They are Mexican-style sandwiches. And in every culture, you'll always see sandwiches on every type of menu. Sandwiches are fun. When we were kids, we would go from house to house, and we'd make sandwiches and clear out everybody's cupboards around the neighborhood. But sandwich, when I moved to southern New Mexico, I discovered the ultimate sandwich, and it's called a torta. And a torta is basically, you can stuff it with several types of meat. The one we're doing today is a traditional pulled pork, and we're going to, I've already mentioned that, we're going to be using that in the kitchen. And you can also do a grill. You can do a carne asada. You can do a grilled chicken. So there's so many ways that you can make sandwiches, but I'm showing you the style that we're doing that today. This is perfect also for all the football games, baseball games, sport events. This is a lovely way to feed your family during the week. Sorry about that. And for special events. So now that we have our blistered jalapenos, I'm going to show you. Are we good? Okay, I'm sorry. I think I unplugged the camera somewhere along the road. I'm going to show you what we're going to do now. When we're looking at these blistered jalapenos, this is kind of what I'm referring to. Whew, throwing food everywhere. And you can see as they're blistering up and getting those marks on them here on my comal. What I'm going to do is I have a small dish, and I'm using some salsa de soya, which is the soy sauce, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop that in here now. And I'm simply going to put my jalapenos right into the soy sauce. You'll find this in a lot of the Mexican restaurants around salsa bars, especially here in southern New Mexico. And this is a delicious way to incorporate flavor. I'm not going to be adding these jalapenos to the sandwiches, but what I am going to be doing is serving them on the side, because in my family, and of course in New Mexico, everybody wants to know where the heat's coming from, right? So they'll be coming from those chili peppers there. All right. That's wonderful. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to prepare our green chili mayo. And this is something that I love to slather on our bread. And of course I got a new one, and I'm not going to be able to open it here. Bear with me. Thank you guys. I have a really hard time with these lids sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I have 2 tablespoons of green chili that I've already roasted, peeled, and diced. And I'm simply going to add in about 3, 4, or 5 tablespoons of this mayo. And that gets a quick stir. Doesn't get any easier than that. Now this is a delicious way you can add this on. Of course, if you're making it for people that don't really care for the hot chili, you can use mild or you can skip it altogether. But this is so good with that pulled pork. I hope you give it a try. So we have our jalapenos, we have our green chili mayo, and we have our onions that are caramelizing there. So let's now talk about our bread. Moving this over. When making traditional tortas, there's a few different styles that you can go. My favorite is to use the bolillo. The bolillo is shaped like a football. So this is your football bread. And this is something that you can find at Mexican bakeries. You can find them at a lot of different places. You can also find what's called teleras, or telera, T-E-L-E-R-A. And they're shaped more like a starship or a hamburger bun. And then of course we have our traditional hoagies, and these are wonderful when you're making the manwich for the guys, because they love a big sandwich. So one of the things that I like to do when I'm working, and I'm going to go ahead and we'll make one this style today, you're going to cut your bread, and this is one of the most important components for me, is to make sure that we get a nice good toast on that. So that's going to go straight down on our comal. And that's how I'm going to prepare that piece of bread. And again, you can also use panecitos. Panecitos are the little buns that you find. And those are fun when you're making them for the kids, or maybe if you have different types of carnes, different meats or things going on, you can use those so that you can sample different sizes of the sandwiches. All right, this looks so good. I can tell you, today I got up, I was so excited to share this recipe with you, and I want to peek in and see how our pork is doing, and we'll take it from there so we can build these delicious sandwiches. As far as toppings, I like to keep it kind of simple. It is a sandwich, so I have tomato and lettuce, and of course I need to do my avocado. That is one thing that I really enjoy on my sandwiches as well. Now you can mix this up and do a guacamole. You can do whatever you'd like. I like to go ahead and just have it ready this way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be smearing it directly on my bread. Let's take a look at some pork and see how lovely it is looking now.
How long do you bake it?
We had this in the oven for a total of 3 hours. Yeah. So we are going to put it in at 300 degrees. We're using a 2.5 pound roast, but again, you may add more additional time depending on the size of meat you're doing. But with our roast, you can see it just fell apart today. It is delicious. Now, I like to use a shoulder. If I can, it has the perfect fat ratio. So going ahead and let's build a beautiful sandwich for today's show. Look at these onions. They are smelling delicious. Getting that lovely brown on them. I'm throwing things all over the kitchen. We're gonna have fun cleaning this up afterwards, aren't we guys? I love sharing with my set crew. I love having everybody around. I love all the questions and the feedback I get. So keep them coming. So here we have this delicious food, and we are going to put it all together Carrie style in the kitchen. Got my bread, I got a nice toast on it. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to take my avocado and I am going to drop that on there on one side. Now, one thing I didn't take out of my refrigerator, and I will add it as soon as the camera goes off, is I love to add some queso. I like to add cheese. So today, I'm going to be adding in some sliced, maybe pepper jack, sounds good. And let's also go for some cheddar. We'll put that on there as well. So now that we have our avocado spread out, simple and delicious, let's go ahead and add in some of this pulled pork. Oh, this smells so good. Trust me when I tell you about those spices. It is flavorful, it's delicious, and there we go. You can add bacon, you can add whatever your heart desires. I love to add in a nice roast like this. It's moist, it's delicious, it's gorgeous. Now moving this out of the way, and you guys, I have a lot going on. Today's been a good show. I've talked a lot, I've shared a lot. We're gonna spread in some of that green chili mayo on the other side. And we are going to take some lettuce. Of course, I love to have my salad on my sandwich. And we're gonna drop in a tomato or two. And let's do some of these wonderful caramelized onions. There's nothing like having beautiful onions on top of a nice pulled pork sandwich. Look at that. Now I'll tell you, I made this man style because this is a big one. But what I like to do is I get these sandwiches ready for my family is I try to, my best, give a nice little cut so you guys can see how delicious that looks. Doing it up New Mexico style. This is a lovely, lovely way to start your day.
Yes!
I did it. I did it this time. You guys are gonna love it. Bye.